Hello and welcome to May's Crochet. I am Rachel. I'm sorry my lips are so pale. I just don't feel like going and putting on any lipstick or colored chapstick right now. I'm just trying to get this video started. Anyway, this month we are going to go over all the movies I watched in May for my 2025 movie blanket. 2024 I did a book blanket. 2025 I'm doing a movie blanket, though it's not nearly as involved because for the book blanket I actually replicated the book covers in 5 round granny squares. For this year, I am only taking every movie, making a 3 round granny square in the color that I rank it 1 through 3. It is not that deep. So my goal is 16 movies a month, and I will make a 4x4 square out of the individual granny squares. And then at the end of the year, I should have 12 squares, large squares that will go into a 3x4 blanket. Here's hoping. Squares look a little something like this. Now this was April's, and every movie I watched in April was a new to me film. The yellow is a 1. It means I never want to watch it again if I don't have to. The pink is a 2. It means it could go either way. Yeah, I could totally watch this again if I don't get around to it for, 10 years. Okay. And then blue is I would absolutely love to rewatch this again as soon as possible, but I got other things to do. Now, other months have purple in them, and they surround one of those colors. Purple is a rewatch, and then the color follows the exact same thing I just told you, so I hope you paid attention. A couple other things of note: I typically film and discuss movies in a block, which would be 4 movies at a time. It may not always be like that, especially if I'm doing a series or something, but I try, so I'm not making one long video at a time. I really could not do that, and I can make it as I go along, but I'm also not trying to film after every single movie I watch. Also, any films I rewatch, I try to make the squares off camera and then just quickly go over the fact that I watched it and why I rank it, whatever I rank it, and move along with my life. Yeah. So with all that being said, let's get started on May. However, I'm not actually going to start with the first movie I watched this month because it's related to the 4th movie of the month I watched, so I will talk about it in just a minute. Instead, I will talk about the 2nd movie I watched this month, because that's how numbers work, and it was The Devil All the Time. Or Devil All the Time? The Devil All the Time. That's what it is.
Excuse me, preacher. You got time for a sinner?
So The Devil All the Time is, I believe, from 2020, 2021, and it was on Netflix. Banger of a cast. Absolutely fantastic cast. And it was one of those that had been on my to-watch list for forever, but I came across a post that was entitled, books that were Appalachian horror, and The Devil All the Time was one of those books, and I didn't realize that the film was based on a book. I wouldn't call it horror, though. Definitely suspense. I don't know about mystery. It's a lot of murdery stuff. I don't know if horror was the best way to describe that. Maybe the book is more horror-driven. I don't know. But that's why I finally watched the movie. I was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to watch that for 5 years. I actually waffled between a 2 and a 3, but it's been several weeks at this point, and I think 2 for sure. I definitely like to watch it again one of these days, probably after I read the book, which I will do eventually, soon-ish, maybe. I don't know. I'll get to it. Anyway, but it's not when after sitting with it, I don't feel like I absolutely need to watch it right this minute again, but I definitely want to give it another go one of these days. So honestly, I'm not even sure really how to describe the movie itself. There's a lot of intertwining characters and plots, scenarios. It takes place in Ohio, small town Ohio, and very small town West Virginia. I think they're maybe 5 hours apart, but there's a lot of dark religious overtones and how a religious obsession can lead to very bad things when you have the faith, but you don't know how to rein that in. I guess I don't really know how to put it. So there are characters who have absolute mental breakdowns due to their faith, and because they put all their faith into, presumably what they consider a Christian God, and things don't work out the way they hope because they misinterpreted the Bible or what they were taught, and their children pay for their sins. Without trying to spoil anything, that's the best way I can put it. It is a multi-generational story and does take place in both places. And again, lots of moving parts, and at times you're like, how is this all going to come together? And it eventually does in the end. I don't want to say too much. Again, it is incredibly dark, but I'm not sure I would still call it a horror film necessarily. But I really did end up enjoying it quite a bit. Fantastic cast. Great atmosphere. Really great storytelling. I don't know if it would be as I don't know if reading it the way it was told in the film would be easy, because it does jump around back and forth in time over these like 20-ish years a lot. It's post World War II, so mid 40s to I believe the mid 60s. And at times you're like, how are these things related? But it's only like a 2.5-hour movie, so you're going to figure it out. However, I'd be afraid I'd get very frustrated and forget things if I read it over a multi-hundred-page book. So I will get to the book eventually. And it might be told differently in the book, and they just did this for the film to make it more intriguing. I don't know. One of these days I will have the answer after I read the book and rewatch the movie, but it's not going to be today. So that's The Devil All the Time. I guess the best way to sum it up is it's very Southern Gothic, though West Virginia and Ohio are not the South, despite what a lot of people might think. So anyway, fun fact. I screwed up. I only did 2 clusters instead of 3. I'm not fixing it. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't care. So let's move on. It's a rewatch. This might seem out of pocket. So you have to understand that for several years, I was in a Marlon Brando phase, like 16 through, I don't know, 22, 23, 24. I don't know. It was a while. And Guys and Dolls was one of my favorite movies at the time, and I watched it a million times, absolutely wore out that DVD, and I was just scrolling on Prime looking for something to watch, and I came across it. It's been probably at least 15 years since I watched it, so there are some things that were a little cringe. There was some singing that was not good. There's definitely some other things that were like, but it was 1955. What do we expect? But it's still like a comfort movie. Like I know every line, I know all the songs, I know every bit. And overall, it's a really actually very pretty film to watch. The costumes, the set, all of it was done on a massive soundstage instead of trying to actually replicate Broadway in real life or shoot on Broadway in real life. They built the whole thing on a soundstage, and I think it looks fantastic. So I don't know anything about Havana, but I'm pretty sure that was a soundstage too. So yeah, Guys and Dolls. All right, let's circle back to the first movie of the month that I watched. So if you know, last month in April, we went on a very big family trip to Florida. We did all 4 major Disney parks, and then, well, technically 3 of the Universal ones, because we got to preview Epic a month before it opened. So one of our favorite rides was the Tron light cycle race. Is that what it's called? It's awesome. It's so good. I highly recommend. That all being said, we've never watched any of the Tron movies until now. So, 1982, Tron came out. It was a big flop. I can see why. I can also see why it's a cult classic. I see both sides. For me, I thought it was goofy, silly. Just maybe if I watched in the 80s, I'd have more of a nostalgia factor for it. I do not. Jeff Bridges gets stuck in a computer program and he has to fight like gladiator type games with actual computer programs where he's what they call a user. He gets zapped with the laser that somebody left lying around. I wish I was joking, but he has to fight these other programs so he can escape and get back to the real world. Yeah, it's pretty silly, and the graphics, the costumes, everything, it's really out there. So it's almost so bad it's good. So that was Tron. Now on to Tron Legacy, which came out in like 2010, which is what the ride is actually based off on. Thank God.
Now this I can do.
So almost 30 years after the original Tron flopped in theaters, they made a sequel, which at the time I was blogging and podcasting film stuff. Is a whole ass other chapter of my life. But I had never even heard of Tron. I was almost 30 at the time. I had never heard of the first one, and I didn't know what this new movie was. And there were people who were a little older than me who remembered the first Tron when it came out in the 80s. They said that they gave the whole backstory on it. And I want to say at the time that Tron Legacy was coming out, the first Tron was maybe out of print on DVD, and it wasn't streaming anywhere. So it was very bizarre that it was getting a sequel all these years later when accessing the first one was not an easy task. Obviously now there's Disney Plus and both are on there, so that's not hard. So Tron Legacy follows Jeff Bridges. Once again, he is a computer guy. He's not just some random guy who got stuck in a computer. He is a computer programmer, a game maker. I think it's about 7 years after the original Tron story. He has gotten married and had a child. His wife has died. He is working late quite a bit, and one night he does not come home to his son, who is now being raised by his grandparents. 20-ish years later, said son grows up and finds a secret room at the back of his father's old arcade. He gets sucked into the game. He's stuck in there. He's been an orphan basically for the last 20 years. And he finds his father, but it's not really his father. It's a computer version of his father, which was a de-aged Jeff Bridges, which was creepy as hell. I'm not gonna lie, it was very distracting. I screwed up again. Oh my gosh. But since he's a computer program, like, it kind of works. You know, that unsettling feeling very much works. Anyway, he's evil. His name is Clue. So after being forced to play a bunch of games, much like his father did previously, Sam is rescued by a woman named Cora and taken to his actual father, which is a modern day Jeff Bridges, who looks appropriately aged and not creepy at all. So Jeff Bridges' character's named Flynn. I really should have said that before. And Flynn had created this program called Clue to help him build up this like virtual world. Well, Clue turned evil and trapped him there. And that's where he's been all this time. And Sam would like to get the hell out of there and take his dad with him. So they spend the rest of the movie doing that. Story, it's okay. Better than the first one. Actually, the story of the first one wasn't terrible. It was just kind of like the production of it was like, it just wasn't really ready for it in 1982 to produce that kind of story. However, this time they were very much ready to produce this kind of story because this is very much a style over substance for me kind of movie. It is beautiful. I absolutely love the look of this movie. Daft Punk did the entire soundtrack and it is fantastic. Great atmosphere. Everything else is just kind of like, okay, but you know, if you find yourself kind of drifting off, you at least have something really pretty to look at. And that's why I liked it. So that is Tron and Tron Legacy. This one, too ambitious for the time. They just didn't have the technology to execute it super well. But I can see the appeal. This one, they definitely have the technology. Style over substance, but the style is really, really, really great to look at. And if you ever get a chance to ride a Tron light cycle race ride at some sort of Disney park, definitely go for it. It's awkward as hell to get in the first time. You have to like kneel down and lean forward. It's weird, but worth it. Just don't put all your weight on your stomach like I might have that morning after coffee and donuts. Anyway, that is all I have for this section. Now on to the next. Welcome to Rachel After Dark. We are going to do our second block of films, and instead of the regular 4, there will be 5 because I watched a film series. Now, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off and do all of them at once. And it won't take long because it was practically the same movie 5 times. Because I watched the Final Destination series. If you could even really call it a series. It's basically just the same movie over and over again, kind of, sort of, but not really linked to the previous movie.
We get thrown off the plane all because Brownie has a bad dream?
I saw it.
The plane! It's gonna blow up! It's gonna blow up!
Okay, so if you don't know, all of the Final Destination movies are about a teenager or young adult having a horrible premonition that something is going to go horrifically wrong moments before it actually happens, and so therefore they avoid it and have a group of other people, friends, sometimes strangers, depending on the movie, avoid it as well. The horrible thing happens and they're like, oh my god, we're saved, yay! But then death comes for them one by one afterwards because, yeah, that's the catty bitch. I don't know. The first one is a plane crash. The second one is a pileup highway accident because of a log truck. Third one was a roller coaster derailment. Fourth one was a speedway accident where somehow a blown tire causes the entire facility to collapse. Like, what? Okay. Fifth was a bridge collapse. So then it's mainly about the survivors every single time being like, okay, death's coming for us in the order that we die. So the person who has the premonition has to try to remember the order in which everybody dies. And then it's a bunch of setting up really stupid scenarios, impossible chains of events, usually dealing with condensation. And sometimes they're fake outs and sometimes they actually cause the deaths. Sometimes they really are just freak accidents or someone randomly getting hit by a bus without looking both ways before crossing the street. It's all kinds of stuff. Just how many stupid ass ways can we kill people and cause the most gore? That's it. Why did I do this to myself? I wish I had a good reason. I do not. I was driving the girls to dance a couple weeks ago, and I made a reference to the log truck, which is the second movie, the log truck that causes the accident, and how millennials or like late Gen Zers won't drive behind a log truck because they remember this movie. At the time, I didn't realize that there had been some advertisements of like fake log trucks. They were advertising the sixth movie that had come out the week I watched all these movies. I didn't realize there was going to be a new one coming out. The last one came out 14 years ago. I thought this series was done, but no, it's not. Anyway, so I was telling the girls about it and how I'd watched the second one with their dad without ever having seen the first one. And then I never watched any of the others. So I was just going to watch the first one. Like, I opened up HBO Max, whatever they're calling themselves now. I can't even keep up anymore. And I saw that they had the first one. I was like, I never actually watched the first one, so I think I'm just going to do that. And yeah, it was bad. It was, I think, the least bad out of all of them. Maybe it's not saying much. It's the most okayest, least painfulest. I don't know. But then I thought, I don't remember much about the second one. I just kind of wanted to watch the opening sequence or the accident sequence, that the chain of events that causes everything. And then I ended up watching the whole thing, and I'm like, well, shit, here we go. All right, let's just do it. Let's watch them all. And this was at the time when I was making the recital dolls for the girls. And so I'm like, this is really dumb stuff that I don't need to pay super close attention to, because again, it is just the same movie times 5. Now, the first one, I guess, is the best because since it's an airplane crash, and it was in 2000, so it was a year before 9/11, since it was a kid having a premonition of an airplane, explosion in the air, and then the subsequent crash from it, and getting off the plane with his friend and a couple other people from a high school trip to France, then the FBI is like super interested in him, like thinking he's a terrorist and had something to do with it. So there's like an extra layer of interest there, but that's it. That's the only thing, is the rest is so stupid. Oh God, just how much time they spend setting up the fake out deaths is exhausting. Watching it all unfold with the eerie music, and then it doesn't happen, and then they die some other way. It's just like, how are you not bored writing this? The first one, not good, not even close to good, but not as bad as it gets. And then I did like the twist at the end of the fifth one. Like, I appreciated it. After all that, it was something slightly different. This sixth one has actually not been shat upon all that much. Like, it was even certified fresh. Not that I give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but it was certified fresh by the critics. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. Don't tell me more. I am probably not going to spend any money to watch it. Maybe if it comes to a streaming service here in a couple months, maybe. But otherwise, I'm kind of done with this little franchise. That is Final Destination. All the Final Destinations. This is the second one with the log truck. Even like when you don't like something, but you watch it and you finally you feel like you filled a pop culture gap. Yeah, this isn't that. Like, I feel like the second one with the log truck is the most like pop culture piece, and I already saw that one and I already knew. Other than just knowing the premise, I don't feel like I've learned anything, or the only redeeming quality was that they were all short. I don't think any of them passed 95 minutes, so at least I didn't waste too much of my life on this. But that is Final Destination, except for the new Bloodlines one. So thanks for being a distraction or background noise as I made one of my biggest projects of the year, I guess. Anyway, that's it for tonight. All right, let's finish it up. Yes, I know I said finish, even though this is only the third segment, but May turned out to be the month of rewatches, because with the end of the school year, concerts, recital, all the things, I just needed something, a lot of things that were just simple, easy, I've seen before, and I didn't really have to put too much of myself into. They were all good rewatches for them. Yeah, I mean, all good. I think so. So I definitely got 16 movies in. It's just that it's all stuff I've seen before, so I don't have any like first impression thoughts. I will go over those later. So the only Other new to me movie that I watched this month was Mickey 17 from, I think, only earlier this year, and now it's on Max.
Why aren't you dead? Multiples.
So Mickey 17 is the new film by Korean director Bong Joon-ho, and it is about a future where humans can be cloned, but it becomes illegal, and space exploration has become a thing, like new settlements in space, and there is a disgraced sort of politician man, played by Mark Ruffalo, who has decided to do this, go out into space and start a new civilization, or take people and create a colony, whatever, you know, you get it. Anyway, he's married to Toni Collette, and they are very over the top in their ridiculousness. But they're looking for people to go on this trip with them. And Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson, he and his friend, whose name I am forgetting, but it's Stephen Ewan, they're in trouble. They owe a mobster a lot of money for a failed macaron business. Like, yeah. So they get onto this expedition as workers, but Mickey ends up an expendable, which basically means they take him and use him kind of as the canary to send down into the mines or just do stuff that is very dangerous that will get him killed. But it's okay, because they'll just print out another copy of him the next day. So when the movie opens, we are on Mickey 17, and there is a montage of Mickey's 1 through 16, but we're now at Mickey 17, who is down in a crevasse with these alien creatures on this planet they've landed on, potentially coming to eat him. He gets out, goes back to his room. Mickey 18's already been printed because they assumed Mickey 17 was gone. So now there's another one, which is definitely against the rules. I mean, cloning was already bad enough, but multiples at the same time, absolutely not, because that could lead to even more trouble. And it does. This movie felt very much like the spiritual cousin of Bong Joon-ho's another one of his films, Snowpiercer, which is set in the future, very snowy, like this planet, only the snowy planet is Earth on the other one. And it's just that Mickey 17 is the sort of goofy spiritual cousin of Snowpiercer. Now, that's mainly because of the character Mickey and the lightheartedness at which his situation is dealt with. I mean, obviously it's very serious to know that you are going to die over and over and over again, because that's just the hand you were dealt to, ironically, not be killed. But here's Mickey just being printed out every day, same memories. I mean, they upload his memories like every week or so to make sure he still has all the same memories that the last version of him had. But there are differences in each Mickey as they're printed out. Some are dumber, some are more aggressive. There's always like a little personality glitch every time. The movie does start off pretty fun and lighthearted because of the character of Mickey and the way they treat his deaths and how he's being used. Like, they land on this planet and they send him out to see if there are any viruses in the air, and it takes like 4 versions of Mickey before they can get an actual vaccine that works, so everybody can take it and they can all now live on this planet. Of course, the planet's frozen over and inhabited by very large creatures. Not aliens, because the humans are the aliens. But anyway, it doesn't seem habitable, but Mark Ruffalo is determined. However, it is very darkly themed, as in, what makes us human? Is it right for Mickey to have to constantly endure this, knowing he's going to die, even though each version of him still has thoughts and feelings, experiences, memories, all these other things? So nothing really groundbreaking, because I've definitely seen things like that before. Not necessarily with cloning, but media that has used the human mind to be kind of uploaded into new bodies every single time. It's happened multiple times. My favorite was Dollhouse, but it's happened multiple times. And it kind of just boils down to what makes us human. Is it the body, or is it life experiences and everything like that? And it's good in that way, but somewhere maybe 2/3 of the way in, it gets too weird, I think. I just wasn't following it anymore. I didn't dislike it. I definitely had a good time in the beginning with the setup, the concept, the overarching theme of, you know, what makes us what we are. But where the story ended up, well, actually where it ended up wasn't terrible. It's just the getting there in that last act felt very too bizarre. But I don't have any recommendations of how it could have been told differently. But I would be willing to clearly watch it again and maybe see what I missed. I don't know. I feel like the same thing happened with Snowpiercer too. Even though it too had a great concept and themes about classism, it got to a point where it just was too weird almost. So maybe that's just the way and there's nothing to be done about it. I don't know. I mean, I've definitely watched Snowpiercer a couple of times and it's still the same thing. I enjoyed the beginning and once it gets to the end, it's like, okay. So it might be the same for Mickey 17, but I don't know. I don't know when I'll get back around to it. It's not high on the list, obviously. And that was Mickey 17. I enjoyed it for the most part. It just, when an ending doesn't work, it kind of ruins everything. Not ruins, but calls into question whether it was worth it or not. You know, you get the feeling? Yeah, okay. And now I'm just gonna go over the rewatches for the rest of the month. It's only 6 more to go, and then we're done. So at the beginning of the video, I talked about how much we love the Tron light cycle race at Magic Kingdom. We had never seen the Tron movie, so we came home and watched them. Well, the very first ride we rode was at Epcot, and it's their first ever roller coaster. It is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's the very first thing we rode. Got there first thing in the morning, got in line, rode it, loved it. I loved it so much. It is pretty much my favorite ride of the entire week, which is a hard sell because there are a lot of great rides between both 4 parks at Disney and the 3 we did at Universal. So that says a lot. However, I do think a lot of it is because of how much we love Guardians of the Galaxy and how immersive it is, because as soon as you walk in the building, there's just stuff everywhere to distract you while you stand in a long line. And there's the whole setup with the cast. The only complaint is that Bradley Cooper did not come back to voice Rocket. The guy who did tried. He tried really hard, but I know that was not Bradley Cooper because Rocket is absolutely my favorite. I'm over it though. Still my favorite ride. So I was like, now I just got to rewatch the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So we've been doing that for our Saturday night movies. So Guardians, Volume 2, Volume 3, and yes, we did watch the holiday special where they kidnapped Kevin Bacon. So I love these movies. They are fun. It's just a great group of characters, just crazy, and the chemistry is just off the charts, and how they evolve and change over the 3 films. The first 2 are a really good time. The third one is also incredibly good. I think just so much darker in tone considering everything that's going on with the original Gamora gone and Star-Lord just in complete and total depression, and then trying to save Rocket's life and his backstory, and it's just so dark, but it's so good. I really enjoy them, and I genuinely hope that they are completely done making them. I feel like the third one was a perfect ending to the trilogy. I really don't want to see any of those characters anymore. They've had their time and they wrapped it up beautifully, but Disney loves the money, so who knows where that's gonna end up. So very last, we have the Jordan Peele collection. So Get Out, Us, and Nope. Yeah, that's it. Like, these 2 I've watched many, many times. It's so good. This is going to be a modern classic, I think. Or it is a modern classic. I don't know how we define that. Anyway, great story with dark humor and social commentary, excellent acting. Love it so much. Us, I consider a dark fantasy. If you try to apply real world logic or rules or anything of the sort to it, you're gonna hate it. I think that's just all there is to it. It will be riddled with plot holes. Nothing will make sense. So I approach it from a dark fantasy POV. That doesn't mean it's perfect. He does break some of the rules he sets up within his own world, but I still love it. Lupita Nyong'o is perfect, playing, well, kind of the same character, but not really. A clone of a character, 2 halves of a whole, however you want to look at the tethered. Yeah, it's great. Love it so much. Nope. It's not a nope. Clearly, it's pink. This is the second time I watched it. I watched it when it first hit streaming a few years ago, and I wasn't really sure what to think of it then. I definitely liked it, but how much I liked it, I definitely didn't have the same reaction I had with these 2 immediately upon the first watch. However, I was streaming it and like the app crashed like 4 times, and I thought maybe I just lost the momentum. But rewatching it now, I don't think that's the case. Perhaps it's just one of those deals where the filmmaker was too much in his own head and what he was trying to get across didn't work for me. That doesn't mean it didn't work for everybody. I know critics really loved it, but it didn't work for me. It's still a good movie. It still has lots of enjoyable moments and characters. It just, something about that ending falls kind of flat. So, much like Mickey 17. Interesting. I'm not saying it's Stephen Ewan's fault, but he is in both. Make of that what you will. No, I'm just kidding. I love Stephen Ewan. Like, Glenn is, we're not going to get into The Walking Dead. That's such a hot topic still. All these years later, his death on The Walking Dead. Oh my gosh. But anyway. The Jordan Peele. So that was May. Sorry, it wasn't super exciting, but not that sorry, because it was about doing what I needed to do to get my goal, but also get through the damn month. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube things, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!